Am I wrong for pulling out of planning my sister's wedding, causing her to lose her venue? As a wedding planner who has been in the industry for many years now, my 31 male party trick amongst close friends and family is being able to guess how long my clients' marriages will last with pretty alarming accuracy. If you ask anyone in the industry, there are specific indicators while working with a couple that allow us to be able to gauge compatibility. I can usually get down to around a 6-month window when predicting when photos of each other will disappear from socials. This is not me taking joy in crashing and burning of relationships. Working in this career field can actually leave you feeling jaded about relationships in general, which is why I'm reluctant to work for friends and family. The specific stress wedding planning puts on some people/couples can bring out the worst in them that you don't see in everyday life. My sister is getting married early next year and practically begged me to plan for her despite my stance on clients I know personally. I finally gave in and we began the process back in March. Last week, while we were meeting and finalizing a few things, she asked me about the party trick I mentioned. She said since I had been working with her and her fiance for months now, I could give my prediction as to how long they were going to last. I laughed and tried to move on. I thought she was joking, but she continued to press the issue. After her continually bothering me about this for at least 15 minutes when I'm trying to move on, I do have work outside of my specific appointment with her that I need to get to. I finally told her I thought they would last forever. She claimed she didn't believe me and wanted my real number, so I shrugged and told her the truth, 1.5 years. She was livid. I felt incredibly uncomfortable with the whole ordeal, especially with how little she respected my boundaries in what is supposed to be a professional setting. I felt incredibly uncomfortable with the whole ordeal, especially with how little she respected my boundaries in what is supposed to be a professional setting, and just tried to usher her out of my office. Instead, she began ranting about my own marriage and said she gave us until the end of the year before we break up and accused me of being a homewrecker. She finally left and I emailed her saying I would no longer be involved in planning. I gave her the contact information for all of the vendors we were working with, but told her the venue would no longer be available as they only booked to people they have existing relationships with and my involvement was necessary. I have had to break up with clients before, but this felt particularly rough. She has now told our parents that I am purposefully sabotaging her wedding and that I was unforgivably rude to her when she just asked a playful question. I feel very silly for letting a person disrespect my boundaries over and over again, something I typically wouldn't tolerate, but now I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong. So, am I the asshole? Am I wrong for being pissed that there was no alcohol at a wedding? One of my 35 male best friends, 34 male, got married last week. He drinks alcohol and our friend group will meet up at breweries a few times a month to hang out. His fiance, now wife, does not drink. It's never been a part of her life. My wife and I got a hotel room by the reception space and Ubered to the wedding. The ceremony occurs, we go to what's supposed to be cocktail hour, and there was just soda and water. No alcohol. This was not something we knew about ahead of time. There was palpable buzz among our friend group at the lack of booze. A lot of us had spent money on a hotel room and Ubering anticipating drinking. Kind of pissed. Bride and groom come to cocktail hour, everyone cheers, and when the bride and groom come mingle with us, I asked, where's the booze? His wife chimes in saying her family does not drink and that they were paying for the wedding, thus no alcohol. I told him that we should have known that ahead of time. I say I wasted money on a hotel room and Ubering. The bride does not take my commentary well and implies I might have a drinking problem. I don't. I only drink with my friends. The groom says I don't need to be such an asshole. I reiterate that I spent a bunch of money on something I didn't need. We all did. The bride's pissed at me and asked me to leave. My wife and I leave, but it's clear I touched a nerve. In our group chat, friends were mixed on me saying something. My wife said I wasn't wrong, but my timing was wrong. So was I the asshole? Oh my God. You dumbass. You're not an asshole, you're a dumbass. Who the hell do you think you are to come to someone else's event that you are not contributing any monetary amount to say, why don't you have this? It's not anyone's obligation to give you any alcohol. What the heck? And for that to be a deal breaker for you to want to come to someone's event, you're a shitty friend and a shitty person.
I, 29 female, found out that my dad, 54 male, might not be my bio dad, and he's known for 23 years. I'm the oldest daughter of my mom, 50 female, who has now been married 5 times. 2 of my sisters and I are the product of her first marriage, and she had custody of us growing up. My mom and I have an extremely strained relationship. It goes without saying. My childhood was difficult. I have learned through many years of therapy that she is not someone who is good for my mental health, so I've had to keep our contact very limited. This past weekend, my husband, 36 male, and I went on a quick kid-free vacation to meet my dad and his wife, 45 female, at their vacation home. The trip was wonderful. and much needed. One night, we decided to hang out at the bar and have some drinks. We started talking about life and growth and all of the things we've overcome in our life. And naturally, the discussion of my mom came up. My dad's marriage to my mom was anything but wonderful. They fought often, and my mother, who is now diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, was mentally, financially, and emotionally abusive. Their inevitable divorce was difficult on my dad, but eventually he pulled through, remarried, and is very successful, something he could have never done while married to my mom. My sisters and I have always known that my mom was not faithful in her marriage to my dad. On one occasion, she was sleeping with the Schwann's delivery driver, frozen food delivery service, super popular in the 90s, had the best caramel apple popsicles.
Not the Schwann's driver.
And it was the running joke in my family that my youngest sister was the Schwann's man's baby. Later, mom would say, out of all of you, I know me is for sure your dad's daughter, but I didn't look anything like my dad or my other sisters. I know genetics are a weird thing, so I never gave in for a second thought, but I have dark hair, eyes, medium skin tone, and I'm very tall and lanky, whereas my sisters are very blonde, blue eyes, fair, average height, and broad, and resemble my dad and his side of the family. While reminiscing and having one of our very adult conversations at the bar, my dad dropped a bombshell on me. Quote, I'm not sure that you are my biological child. It was told to me that I was conceived shortly after their honeymoon. My dad believes it to be true, but with another man. It was while they were in the middle of their divorce proceedings when my cousin, mom's niece, now 42 female, called my dad to tell him everything. She and my mom were very close, but she could not take the lies and the secrets that my mom had been keeping for so many years. She and everyone on my mom's side of the family adored my dad and was disgusted by the way she treated him. She told dad the names of men my mom had had affairs with over the years, with receipts, as much as you can in the early 2000s. She too was very concerned that I was not his child biologically. My dad has had this in the back of his mind now for 23 years. I am now married with 3 children and have a beautiful life and an absolutely wonderful dad. I wouldn't be who I was today without him. But after this, I'm having a complete identity crisis. He already told me that he will not get a paternity test because he doesn't want to know. So I don't know what to do next. My sisters have agreed to get genetic testing, but what if we find out we all have different fathers? I could contact my cousin and ask her for the mystery man's name and reach out to him, but then I risk my mom getting wind of the situation, and that would make everything so much worse. I feel so guilty of my reaction of the news, and I feel so bad for my dad that I want answers. The answers change nothing with the relationship with dad, but will destroy any last bit of relationship with my mom. So here I am, spilling my heart out to strangers on Reddit because I don't know who to talk to or what to do.
I don't believe that it really matters who the bio dad, the bio parents are. The important thing is the people that raised you.
Am I wrong for always turning down hangouts with my friends when they ask to bring their kids? So I have a friend group of 7 women from university, and I'm the only one that's child-free, but 1 is childless, 2 are pregnant with their first, and 3 have kids. We as a group rarely meet up, and I've seen them maybe twice in the last year, and we all live in the same city. Every time someone wants to meet up and we finally find a date that works for everyone, one of the moms always asks if they can bring their kids. It's usually one of 2 moms, as the third actually wants to have a child-free evening. And before anyone else can answer, the other mom says yes. All 3 moms have husbands who can watch the kids, and most of them even have both sets of grandparents. But somehow they never manage to find someone to babysit. At this point, I've stopped answering until they set a time and place, and when someone's asked about kids, I say I can't make it. Instead, I hang out with them one-on-one or in smaller groups instead. Am I wrong for always turning down hangouts with my friends when they ask to bring their kids? Well, a few days ago, we finally agreed to meet up and no one asked about kids, and we were having a barbecue and wine night. Well, who shows up with their 8-year-old? Yep, one of the moms. I clearly didn't hide my annoyance, and one of the girls asked me why. I decided to wave it off, and 30 minutes later I excused myself and left, saying I didn't feel well. The thing is, in those 30 minutes, we hadn't had any adult talk and just entertained the kids. I'd rather go home than do this for another 3 to 4 hours, so after I left, I think they realized this was a pattern. I got a text from most of the girls in the group, some calling me an asshole and others saying they were annoyed with me for leaving. But the third mom had my back and asked to meet up later that week to have a proper wine night. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate kids at all. I work with them every day and don't want to spend my time off relaxing with my friends having to entertain other people's kids.